Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, because what you're about to hear is more than just a family story. It's a reminder that the quietest people in the room often see and understand far more than you think, and trust me. The ending of this story holds a lesson that can change the way you look at everyone around you. So stay with me until the very last line. I've lived long enough to understand one truth. Age doesn't make you weaker. It makes you quieter. And quiet people, they notice everything. As the years pass, you learn patience. You learn to listen before you speak. You learn to let others underestimate you, because every underestimate is a mirror, revealing more about them than about you. Normally, that patience serves me well. But every so often, someone mistakes my silence for ignorance, and on those days, I have no choice but to remind them who I truly am. This story begins on an evening that was supposed to be joyful, a simple family dinner. My son, Nathan, had invited me over so I could meet his fiancée, Isabel. He spoke about her with a softness I hadn't heard since his mother passed away. Losing her broke him in ways he never fully admitted. So when he told me he had found someone who brought light back into his life, I silently thanked God. I got dressed carefully. Polished shoes, clean jacket, and the navy blue scarf Nathan had gifted me last Christmas. I even brought a bouquet of white lilies for Isabel. It wasn't necessary, but respect never goes out of style. When I arrived, Nathan hugged me tightly, the way he used to when he was a boy. And then Isabel appeared. She was striking, elegant posture, soft curls framing her face, pearl earrings that glittered under the kitchen lights. She leaned forward, kissed me on both cheeks, and said with her smooth accent, "It's such a pleasure to finally meet you." Her smile was warm, her voice was sweet, and her charm impressive. We sat down to eat. Roast lamb filled the air with its aroma. Wine shimmered in our glasses, and Isabel told stories. Her childhood, her job in fashion, her future plans with Nathan. I listened the way old men listen, quietly, attentively, reading between the lines. Everything seemed perfect until it didn't. Halfway through dinner, Nathan excused himself to grab another bottle of wine. The moment he walked out, Isabel sighed, pulled out her phone, and spoke in a tone she clearly believed I wouldn't understand. In French, low, irritated, she murmured, "How am I supposed to endure this for the rest of my life?" The words stabbed more than surprised me. You see, I spent 8 years living in Marseille. I worked, loved, suffered, grew, all in French. The language is sewn into my memories. But Isabel didn't know that. To her, I was just an old man with slow movements and simple eyes, someone harmless, someone unaware. I didn't react, not a blink, not a twitch. I simply lifted my fork, took a bite, and held my silence. Nathan returned, cheerful, unaware of the storm brewing behind Isabel's polite smile. We continued dinner as if nothing had happened, but everything had changed. After dessert, Nathan stepped out again to take a work call. And that's when Isabel whispered another comment, still in French. "He's exhausting. He talks too slow. Old men like him should stay alone." This time, I couldn't let it slide. I placed my napkin on the table, cleared my throat softly, and leaned forward. In perfect, calm French, I said, "You know, my dear, it's unwise to insult someone just because you assume he doesn't understand you. Especially when that someone is the father of the man you claim to love." Her face drained of color instantly. Her jaw trembled. Her eyes widened in shock. She looked like a child caught stealing something she shouldn't even have touched. You speak French?" she stuttered. I gave her a faint smile. "Much better than you do, actually." The room froze in silence. Only the ticking clock dared to continue. She tried to explain, to justify, to reshape her words into something less cruel, but when lies are born out of arrogance, they rarely survive the air. Nathan walked back in, confusion painting his face as he saw her pale and shaking. "What happened?" he asked. I spared him. I placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "We were simply having a cultural conversation. Isn't that right, Isabel?" She nodded quickly, unable to meet my gaze. The evening ended soon after. I hugged my son, wished her a polite good night, and left. At home, sitting by my window, I thought of my late wife. She had been gentle, respectful, kind to everyone, prince or beggar. She always said, a person's mask eventually slips, some sooner, some later. Over the next weeks, I stayed silent. I didn't tell Nathan what I heard. I let time play its part. Slowly, he began to notice the cracks himself, her impatience, her dismissive tone with strangers, the way she rolled her eyes at things that mattered to him. And then, one afternoon, he sat across from me, heavy with truth. Dad, I don't think Isabel is who I thought she was. I squeezed his hand and simply said, better to realize it now than too late. A month later, the engagement was over. He was sad, but freed. And deep down, he knew why. I never mentioned that dinner again. Some lessons are meant to be discovered, not taught. Now, as I sit here today, I think back to that evening. I don't regret staying quiet. I don't regret letting Nathan see her true colors on his own. But I will never forget the moment Isabel realized that the old, slow, boring man understood every syllable she whispered. So let me leave you with this. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Behind their silence lies a lifetime of stories, languages, heartbreaks, victories, and wisdom you cannot begin to imagine. And if you choose to mock them, don't be surprised when they answer back in a language you never expected. Because I am a grandfather. I've lived. I've learned. And trust me, I understand far more than people think. If this story taught you something today, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. And remember, respect is the only language everyone understands.